Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan, and we've got a pretty good show this week because are getting ready to release Update 37 next week. Yes, Update 37 should arrive. We should be ready to start checking it out here as of next Friday's show. So we have a lot that's happening, and I can get a little bit more into the release notes and the schedules of things, but we also had a pretty busy prior week where we wrapped up our visit to by the curator and the Gundabad Geode boost. We wrapped up season 6 of the legendary items reward track. We've kicked off season 7 as of Wednesday morning, so a bunch of new rewards and things to check out along the reward track there, and we hope you enjoy that. Also this week, Farmers Fair kicked off. So I'll have a little bit more about Farmers Fair here in just a little bit, such as the timing and the fact that we have a guide and what have you up as well. So let me actually do that. I don't know what Lizzie wants. I think she wants me to take her outside, but I don't think we all want to wait for a half hour while I take my cat outside. Sorry, Lizzie. Bad timing. Anyway, here's the Farmers Fair guide. If you haven't seen it, I can scroll through. Here we go. This was put up, I believe, for last year's, but I have updated the rewards, so you can see the rewards here. We have the Blazing Firmaments, and there is that Firefox mask that the person to the right there is wearing in the screenshot. You can see it yourself on Lotra.com. if you want to. I'm just mostly putting it up just to quick have something on the screen, mention the Farmers Fair, and also mention that it runs until 3 a.m. Eastern on September 7th. So through September 6th. And then we got some links as well into the general guides and what have you that have been done over the years. Also, before I get too far along, I do want to mention that we have got something exciting happening later this afternoon that'll be at 4 o'clock Eastern on the Deco du Milieu Discord. We're going to have some members of the housing team. Let me check to get the final roster here, actually, real quick, before I say anything. But this is 4 o'clock Eastern on the Deco du Milieu Discord. And I know we're going to have Sans Array. We're going to have Scenario, and Orion is going to be there as well. And that's going to be at 4 o'clock Eastern on the Deco du Milieu Discord. And I won't. And, gosh, can I get... Anyway, you can hopefully find the Deco du Milieu website and then the Discord from there. But that's happening this afternoon as well. We also are getting ready to publish a whole bunch of stuff, and that's why I'm a little person in the corner here, because we got, like, the Update 37 release notes. We also have an article on River Hobbits that's going to be going up here in a little bit. We've got a massive dev diary coming in from Orion. These are all out for localization right now and getting staged for next week. I also have a Forester crafting event guide that we're going to be talking a little bit about as well. That's sort of a developer diary as well from Orion. That's all going up on the website here in just a little bit. So we've got a lot that we could really talk about here today. But let me, I guess, just start by calling up the release notes. There we go. All right. So we're basically set for next Tuesday. If that changes, we'll let you know. But if that's the current plan, is we're going to go live on the 22nd here. So this introduces the River Hobbit. You've seen the River Hobbit, and I've got something pretty exciting to share with you here in a little bit before I get inside of the game later on in the store as well. We are going to have bundles associated with the River Hobbits. They will be available as a standalone race in the future, but for a while they're going to be in these bundles. They're going to be in the Lotro store, and we're going to detail the bundles and everything when they go live next week, including you'll find out how much they cost and things like that. We have got Lindleby Housing that arrives on Tuesday. And you can see this is literally a document that I am working from right now, prior to staging for the release notes, which is why occasionally you might see me do something. But that's this. I just thought, hey, this is the easiest way to get this up on the screen here right now, so let's go ahead and do it. But we got the Lindleby housing stuff that's going to be happening as well. We have the Forester crafting event that begins on August 25th, and let me actually look at chat here quick. I've been negligent. Yes, Bill Champagne is returning for the music in Update 37. I was hoping to get one of our latest soundtracks out by the end of this week, but unfortunately I've just been too busy to get it up on YouTube. So perhaps maybe end of next week we'll have the next soundtrack, but I think next week might be kind of busy with Update 37, so it might be the week after that. But I'm working on getting the updated soundtracks out as well, and we are going to carry that all the way through Update 37 because it's going to be a while here. We've got a couple more to go yet before we hit that. So. I can't speak, Son of Hani, as to whether some items in the Legendary Items reward track, we are, by the nature of bringing some items back into the reward track, that means some people are going to already have the item. And hopefully, in most cases, there are other things you can do with it. But I think that is the reality, as, if we are going to bring back some underutilized, long lost, in some cases, items to the reward track, that does sort of by the nature mean that potentially someone might already have it. And unfortunately, I think that means it may just not be for you. But hopefully you can, say, turn into figments or do something else with the item based on whatever it is, in a way that's beneficial to you, at least. But if you want to file it as a bug or something, maybe that's something we can look at in the future if there really is truly no use for it. That's true. We did bring back for example, the Isengard Dispeller set, which was for some VIPs who logged in for a few days in 2019. And that is one of those things that, when we bring these new items out and say, hey, we're deliberately not making it exclusive, that's in part because we want to be able to use it for items in the future. And it sounds like I certainly know that we've had some requests to have that Isengard Dispeller set return. So I think this is how it's being done in this particular case. For example, that, obviously if you were there as VIP at that time, you already have it. So I've not heard of any plans to have an alphabetical list option for the reputation panel, but that sounds like a great idea. All right, Forester crafting event. So the part of the reason I wanted to bring this up as explicitly on the show here today as I am is because I do want to say that this is starting a few days after Update 37 goes live. So if Update 37 does indeed arrive next Tuesday here, this is going to be Friday before the Forester crafting event begins. We're adding our first crafting event to the game. It's taking place at the Combe Lumber Camp, and when active, the camp is decorated by flags, new hide stretchers, craft tables, piles, and bears for skinning. If you're in Breland, you'll get an announcement alerting you that the event will begin in 15 minutes, at which point contestants can make their way to the lumber camp and acquire the quest from Wilkin Thorne, Mason Thorne's son. As the event coordinator, Wilkin will bestow the quest to any Forester, regardless of their proficiency. And read more about the Forester crafting event on Lotro.com. I've got an article here that I don't have up right now. Let me do this. There we go. So this is essentially a distillation of the live stream that Orion did a few weeks ago, which means that there is essentially a tutorial already, which is in Twitch form and available on YouTube from Orion. But this is a text version of it that we're going to have on the website as soon as it can come back. I can't guarantee it's going to be ready for Tuesday, but it should definitely be up by next Friday when the crafting event begins. And it explains just really in general about how it all works and what you need to do. But we do have that in the release notes as well. to some extent of what you can do with it. So, go. But I mostly wanted to bring up that it starts on August 25th at 10 a.m. and it runs until 3 a.m. Eastern on September 4th. After that, after it shuts down, it's off for a couple of weeks and then it returns for another 10-day period. And then the plan is to then be off for another couple of weeks, return for 10 days, etc., and be in that cadence for the immediate future. I don't know what our intended final cadence will be for all of these things, but the intention is as we bring out the other profession crafting events, this is Orion's talked about how hopefully and ideally, and if it works out and if everyone likes it, etc., the goal is to have future events that would rotate in. So there will eventually be a point where there'll pretty much always be something. It's just a matter of which one it is. But because this is the first and only at the moment, we're going to have it go for basically 10 days, be off for 2 weeks, and then return for 10 days on that. Oh no. Numbers have, yeah, okay. See, this is why I shouldn't do this, because have gone down, you're right. Or been lowered is actually more appropriate. Let's give me an editing pass live on the air, please don't. No. Alright. That's why these aren't live on the website yet. Because we've never done that either. Sometimes it'll change them as soon as I find an error. I will usually endeavor to correct it. So, that's true. The other big bit of news is we do have some extra wardrobe slots that went on sale today, and I can mention that I guess maybe in a little bit. I don't really need to go through all of the release notes. This is largely a distillation of what you've been seeing on Bull Roar, and yeah. See, I'm kind of scrolling for a while, and we're not even halfway there yet. We got a lot of release notes here for Update 37, in addition to some pretty hefty dev diaries on the Comb crafting event, River Hobbits. Well, River Hobbits is pretty easy. And then the Guardian one, which I have not actually even gotten to yet. But you'll see a little bit that we have a lot of release notes here for Update 37, because we've done a lot of stuff. That's why. Pause on that quickly. So you can see there's quite a bit that's been done. I did want to mention as well that we do have an update to male and female human hairs, an update 37 as well. People have already commented on that on Bull Roar. It was part of the River Hobbit polish work that we did. We were able to include some of those hairs. Except for right now, we have female race man hairstyles, some of them not displaying properly. That may end up being removed, though, by Tuesday. So, like I said, it's a lot, and obviously I'm not spending the whole show here today, but this is going to be available, hopefully, next week with the release of Update 37. Quick note for our French and German players out there that are, due to the length of the notes that you just saw, the fact that there are those other dev diaries in place, in addition to, I haven't even gotten to this one yet, this big Guardian dev diary that I and Orion have been putting together here. This one is also pretty big. I'm scrolling through this while we go. I'm not sure that the Update 37 release notes are going to be back to me until, say, something like Tuesday, which is when we go live. So if they come back while we're down, or what have you, I can just get it live right away on Tuesday. But it is possible that I'm not going to have the French and German release notes up until, say, afternoon or perhaps even Wednesday for Update 37 here. And we're going to be basically, as soon as those dev diaries come back, they'll be getting staged, which is put into the website, previewed and published as soon as they can. But it might be a day or two. There is apparently a 2-day, some kind of 2-day bank holiday in Europe this week that slightly impacted the timelines of deliveries for a few things. Yes, Narufind as well. The sturdy steel keys are being deprecated in Update 37, and by that, they're no longer going to be available in the Lotro store. And the Dusty, the vendor NPC from Lalia's, is going to be no longer selling the associated loot boxes. So that we got a word about that. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, but that is happening with Update 37 here. Anything that you still got in your inventory, still just going to be sitting in your inventory. But you're not going to be able to acquire any further sturdy steel keys in the Lotro store with the release of Update 37, and the NPC will no longer be offering loot boxes. Yes, before we get in game, let me do one more, I think, exciting thing. And this is going to be released without me in the window. I'm putting my camera on for a specific reason, which is I don't want anyone to rip it off or anything yet. But I've got a video to show you here.
The little folk who once dwelt along the river Anduin go by many names. Some use for Beatlan, others follow hides, but many take the name given to their distant kin, calling themselves river hobbits. Unlike those others who departed the Vales for distant lands in times of old, they have hidden for centuries in the dells of the misty mountains, protected from danger and glimpsed by few. Yet sometimes one of their kind ventures forth, following secret paths in search of other little folk who fared west across Middle-earth long ago.
All right. Yes, I muted myself during the video. I was just saying that this will go up on YouTube in a regular format next week, but I was able to preview it like I was just able to here on the stream here today, hot off the presses, as it were. So there we go. There we go. All right. Well, that's really what I got, I think, for most of the news here today. So let me take a pause and make sure. So, yep, we got Farmers Fair through September 6th. We got the legendary item reward track. I haven't mentioned a through date on that yet, but that ends at 9:59. It ends at 9:59 a.m. Eastern on November 15th. So, basically until the next one kicks off on the 16th. So that's for the legendary item reward track 7. And yeah, I guess I could mention just real quick, because it is a sale that is brand new, that we do have more wardrobe space available. We have spaces 36 and 37. Each offer 10 additional slots of wardrobe shared space. And that's now available as of yesterday in the Lotro store. Hopefully we can even bring more to you here in the future. There we go. All right, while we sit here, let me quick go through chat, see what else I should mention. Yes, as a matter of fact, their druids fired. So we are adjusting at the last minute here. After much discussion, there was a decision made to adjust the naming of river hobbits from river dash lowercase h hobbit to river space capital H hobbit. And so we did do that shift here just this week. That just came in over the past couple of days. And that's what we're going to use for update 37 here. So, yes. Because I know people had seen that over on Bullroar and what have you. So, no, an abortion. I am not at all qualified to offer advice about playing internationally, really in general. But specifically, if you're in mainland China, it's not something I really have any knowledge about how you would be able to play the game. I mean, as long as you can access the regular website, you should be able to play it. But I have no idea what the experience is like right now, nor would I be able to offer advice. All right. I think that's it. Let me do one quick thing related to the work that's happening. All right. We do, in fact, have the other game down as well during my show today. People are just... It's been a busy morning. I feel like I'm missing something as well. I could mention real quick that we did have a casual stroll this week. So perhaps if that's of interest to you, you can find that available on our YouTube channel. I have not heard of any plans to offer additional roving threats. Like anything, I'm hesitant to say it's never going to happen, because who knows? It could totally happen. But that's actually over in King's Gondor. Yeah. No. That's all the way back in Losternock. Okay. Okay. Well, gosh, what should I do then? I suppose I should do that.
Well met, friend.
And by that, I should be able to get there from... Oh, like this with travel there. Will Beornings get the body type slider, so we will be able to make heftier Beornings, like you can make as a race of man. Eventually, we would like to update all of the avatars throughout the game. You know, in some ways I expect avatar updates are a never-ending process, right? If it takes you 10 years to do it, then about 10 years later you're like, hey, you know what we need to do? So, but, yes, potentially in the future, if we ever did get to a Beorning avatar update, I would expect to see more options like body sliders and what have you make it there. I have not heard of plans to bring back the Steed of Mickle Delving. In general, we have been bringing back previously retired steeds, and I would imagine we'd continue to do some level of that here in the future. I cannot reveal the price of the River Hobbit bundles. I apologize, Fallen Angel. That is not something I have the permission nor ability to distribute today. But I could say that we have 3 bundles. Small, medium, and large. Alright. So where does that put me in relation to where I need to be? Right there. Okay. Ooh, let's open my Hobbit gifts live on the air. There we go.
We returned to Minas Tirith and told the king what we discovered.
The heirs of Castamere still have their supporters, but Balakor himself is likely dead, and no leader has the strength to replace him. Those tidings were enough to convince Elisar that his tour of the kingdom could safely proceed. But now you tell us there is another group who wishes Gondor ill. He is not going to turn around now, Stampion. You're too late, dude. Yeah.
You have returned from your mission of secrecy.
You tell Legolas of your experience with the supporters of the heirs of Castamere and about their conflict with Nakazi and Tumuldo, emissaries from the kindred of the coins. I do not grieve to hear that supporters of the heirs perished as a result of their own treachery, but they were a known danger and I feel we could manage them easily. We know little or nothing about this kindred of the coins, and that does worry me. No, an abortion. I am not familiar with that particular bug about a ram fireworks that you've run into. Please submit a bug report on that if you can and are willing. Yes, I am excited for River Hobbits too. I've been trying to think. I really pretty much kind of have to, right? I mean, I have to roll up a River Hobbit next Friday, don't I? At least have one stream where we're just sort of like messing around with the house and what have you.
My friend, I want to thank you for accompanying Legolas and Gimli on their scouting mission.
As you can see, I have at last prevailed at court, and now my tour of the kingdom can begin. You lower your voice and tell the king what I've learned about the heirs of Castamere and the kindred of the coins, concluding at last with the worrisome news that someone near to the king may secretly support the heirs. He dismisses your worry with a wave. I'm not troubled by this news, Stampion. I have brought only those I trust with me on this tour, including my most capable bodyguard. You tell Elisar that you already spoke with Legolas and Gimli outside, and he smiles. I speak of another, my friend. You will find my fiercest bodyguard somewhere outside the hall of Lady Vanyalos, near the top of Imlath Melui. Fallen Angel, I am not aware of any plans to retire the River Hobbit bundles from the Lotro store. That's not to say it could never happen. I guess ultimately, if it made sense in the future to no longer offer them in the store, I'd want to leave us that option to consider, of course. But I think they're basically going to be there long term, as far as I'm aware. I've not heard of any plans to get rid of them. You know, the standalone race itself will eventually be released in the store outside of the bundles. And I guess in a world like that, maybe it makes less sense to keep them around. But I imagine we still probably would because of the extra goodies and things that they're going to have with them. So. Actually, I think I want to go up there. Don't I? Maybe I should, Yao. Maybe I should. I depends how much time I've got, because I would need to obviously purchase a house ahead of time and make up a river hobbit and get it somewhat set up so that I could get all my housing crap in one place and deal with it that way. But yeah, maybe we should. Maybe that would be fun. I wonder if I could even... Gosh, what if I'd have to think about that. Is there a way that I could just have it be a public housing party? Where basically anyone can just swing by the house and mess around with stuff? Maybe we should just do a big kind of house party. Maybe next Friday should just be a house party of some kind. I have to think about that. That might be awesome. That might be really fun. All right, chapter 110, Inside Every Shadow. The riddle proved quite easy in the end, Stampion. Why should I remain behind in Minas Tirith while my husband sees his kingdom? Is it not now my kingdom also? Any who think to do him harm must first consider the daughter of Elrond, and to those who believe her to be defenseless, I say only this, beware. Yeah, you know, I mean... You ask Arwen if she knows anything about A Song of Waves and Wind. And the Queen thinks. I have not heard a song by that name, Stampion, but songs of every sort have a mysterious power, both upon the singer and those who hear them. One of the heralds who travels with the company is a minstrel of some repute. Perhaps she has heard this song. Lineal is her name, and she should be outside the Tower Guardhouse in the center of Imloth Melloway. Actually, I think it's kind of a pretty sweet outfit, actually. And it even looks comfortable. Relatively. I probably will do so. Sometimes I've actually been accused on this channel of doing events too much because they're kind of easy. They're easy hangouts, frankly. I have found, and so I tend to love running festival days on stream because I can be sort of scatterbrained and do it at a slower pace and do whatever. But yes, I would expect to also do Farmers Fair stuff here in the coming couple of weeks. And that Forester event. I need to figure out more about crafting. It's a area I am somewhat deficient in terms of my personal knowledge. I really do need to rely on sometimes on others for some of the nuance of understanding of the game's crafting system. But I do want to run that event. So I made someone a Forester, and I've gotten started doing a little bit of stuff there. Although because it's level agnostic, it doesn't really matter as long as you're a Forester. And at least that's my understanding so far. And so it should be fun. I'm going to be running that on stream too. I don't know which member of the team is the highest damage doing hunter character. I have no idea. Not me. Alright, let's, Lineal, the Song of Waves and Wind. I suppose there are a number of melodies to which that name could apply, but I confess to you that nothing comes to mind. I hope I have not disappointed the Queen. I will keep my ears attentive as the King tours Gondor. Will you be joining us? The traveling company is a large one, but there will always be room for a friend of the King and Queen, and you have a hero in your own right, besides. You are a hero, and none will think to threaten them while you stand near. I thank Lineal for her time and wonder if she is right. The story concludes in future updates. Like maybe update 38. Or continues, rather, in future updates. Comma, maybe update 38. Alright, as a matter of fact, I could pop over to the forestry event now. Although I've got some other quests I can do here to kill 15 minutes. Oh, I'm out of coffee. I'm out of coffee. Okay, fine. No, it's not fine. I'll be back in a minute. There we go. Of course, I'm over in Bywater. I really should not. I should go over to the party tree. Oh, did my cat make an appearance? Seem to be having a little problem here. There we go. It's true, by the way, my television is not behind me at the moment. I've got it on my kitchen table because I've been playing some games with it. The wrapper is by the porch. tree, right? Yes. Oh, wrong way. Yeah. All right, so let me think. Farmers Fair. You know, it's funny. Someone had asked on the forums, like, "Wait a second, what's Farmers Fair?" And sometimes you forget, you know, because it's been a while. So Farmers Fair is essentially the old summer festival plus the Farmers Fair. We rolled the old summer festival into the Farmers Fair after we debuted the Midsummer Festival. And we needed a place for that, so we consolidated the two together into the Farmers Fair. And it's the one that's before Harvest Map, which is usually in October.
Stay and have some tea. Hello there. Might I speak with you a moment? Could I take a moment of your time? Stay and have some tea.
There we go. I put the rewards up, I think, last week, didn't I? On the stream, so I don't really... And they've been on social media and such since, so I don't... I know if I need to show off the items here today. What is the reason behind using UK English spelling rather than US spelling? I think it's mostly to annoy people. No, it's specifically because it feels right for the source material. I think that's it. I think that's basically the main reason. Because we like to spell defense with a C. That's true. I mean, I think it really is, though. I don't know. You know, I can't speak to any kind of formal license or suggestion or recommendation or anything like that. But I think even so, it's really basically just a style choice that we've adopted and tried to be generally consistent with.
Might I speak with you a moment?
I don't want to do that one right now. I don't want to do that one right now. I will do this.
Please, stay a moment.
So generally, the way I positioned our guides is that they would be suitable for learning how to get to the event and learning generally how to get started with the event. And the community has done a great job over the years of offering really the best way to do the event and the most efficient ways to get through the various event quests and just all the other bits associated, which I think works out really well. Can't remember what that is. Is that just water? Or just nothing? I don't remember which one that is. I don't want to spoil the taste. I'm just going to skip it. Is that water? Yeah, it could be. You can chuckle a bit or whatever. That should be. Oh no, it's not water? It must have been milk. Darn it. I guess I should put Fibro's guide up or something, huh? Yeah. Alright, what do we got? I don't know if I can remember this one. Would that be wine? Nope. Uh-oh. Maybe I shouldn't be running this. I don't remember what they are. I need to call it. Maybe I need to call it up. Let's see. So if adding to this dish would spoil its taste, I don't remember which one that one is. I don't want to fail it. Yeah, ignore it. Okay. Okay. Bread is too dry, so that would be butter. Alright. Hello, Phil. Yep, we have got Tolkien Professor going on after this, and Druid's Fire will be on after that. Big Ed will be on later tonight. Yes, I would expect to see Sev back for a Q&A within the next couple of weeks, I would think. We'll see. Where is it? We were talking about it this week. I don't know that we're going to be able to do it next week. We might be too busy. Might be the week after that. But I would think within the next couple of weeks, we should be able to get Sev back on the show for a general Q&A. In the coming weeks as well. I don't know how soon exactly, but relatively soon. I must cleanse my palate. Okay, so that's the wine. That's the wine. How you do? Yep. We'll see. We'll see what we can get out of Sev regarding Umbar. But obviously, once Update 37 is released, the next thing we'll be previewing and telling you more about will be Umbar. And so you can expect to hear a lot more about it here in the coming weeks as it goes on to Bull Roar. I think we've got, like, say, some kind of press and previews that we're working to lock down. And, of course, we'll have things on the live stream here as well. We had talked, I think Scenario mentioned this week during his show that we're hoping to do a series of casual strolls ahead of Update 38 where we can go into detail and show off some of these new areas and talk about them a little bit and what have you. So I think we'll see more about that here probably by mid-September at the latest. Something like that. We'll see. We'll see what we can do and when. It all depends on timing and what's ready when, and too many pieces are still in motion to really say much definitively at this point. But that kind of timeline is roughly what we're looking at. Might end up being later in September. We'll see. Done.
Just a moment.
Not terrible timing either.
Could I take a moment of your time?
So I think that's going to wrap up the show then. Thanks so much for watching. Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LocherStream. The shows get archived over on our YouTube channel as well afterwards. And I really like the idea of doing some kind of house party next week. I don't know how ambitious I can get with it, but I love the idea of Update 37 being out and having a house party in Lindleby. So we'll see if we can't pull that together for next Friday's show, at least to some extent. But hope you're having fun. Hope you are enjoying the game and the Farmers Fair and everything else that's happening. And with Update 37 next week, we'll have a lot more to share with you here in the next couple of days. Have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you again soon.